Descent into Darkness, Season 2, A Call of Cthulhu campaign. Welcome back, gentlemen, to Deathwatch's Call of Cthulhu campaign, Descent into Darkness, Season 2. Episode 20. Last time we left off with our group split into two, one heading towards the Keys Wharf, where some sort of gunfight has occurred, according to Finn McCracken, and the other one to return the Walter Corbett journals to Corbett's old house, in exchange for the lawyer, James Clark. So let's begin with Mr. Monroe and James Whitmire. So you, we'll say, have cruised down the street past the Corbett house, Mr. Whitmire, to get a look at what's all going on in the neighborhood. And by now it's pretty late, although you still have a fair bit of sunlight. We'll put it at 8:30 in the evening.
Well, Mr. Whitmire, this seems to be your area of expertise rather than mine, so I will happily follow your lead whenever you're ready to make the move to place the journals. I am more than anxious to have them leave my possession after that last little display that I apparently put on.
Was there anywhere specific that I'm supposed to put these?
As far as I know, I don't believe so, but, well, quick question for the Dungeon Master, or the Keeper, was the location where they were found in the write-up about the...
Not specifically. It just says it was found in the Corbett house.
Okay. So, yeah, I'll respond to Jimmy saying, as far as I know, it doesn't make too much of a difference, but we should put it in a location where it's not likely to be found easily and that we can retrieve it at a later date if we need to.
Okay. Well, there's no time like the present.
So yeah, your cruise by the street signals to you that it's all clear. You know, there's not much in the way of foot traffic. While you don't have the cover of darkness, maybe with the right timing, you could, looking at the place, you can see there's the front door, and then on the east side of the house, there is a side entry.
So what is the side entry actually, or what's facing the side entry?
It's in between the Corbett house and an apartment building.
Okay. I was take a look at the windows, like see if there's any windows on that apartment that are open, or are they all covered? Anybody hanging out of a window?
Yeah, there are banks of windows. It's about 5 stories high. And when you look up on the 4th floor, we'll say there's about 6 windows running along that side of the building on each floor. You see a figure in every window with an obscured face, just this by the glass and the reflection on it. But you do make out fedora-like hats with broad brims looking down at the Corbett house. Go ahead and give me a sanity roll on that, just a small one. Yeah, it does give you the willies, but because to you from this distance, they could all be Mr. Blackman as far as you can tell. You just can't see their face through the glass and at the height they are on. But yeah, so that was a figure looking like Mr. Blackman, but in every one of the 6 windows on that floor.
Is there like a window on the other side that I might be able to use?
On the Corbett house?
Yeah.
There was one into the living room.
All right. Is it boarded up or anything, or is it?
No, that's been renovated, colored a bright pink. Well, we'll say a pastel pink color, and this looks like new glass has been installed. But it is just a picture window, so there's really no way you'd have to break through it to get in that way.
All right. Well, I'll try the front door is I'll try to time it for when there's not a lot of, any traffic coming by, no one driving by.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me your locksmith roll. Yeah, these new locks they're putting in places, they're just not as tough as an old lock, so you jimmy it open real quick. Mr. Monroe, while you wait in the car, can you give me a spot hidden roll?
I can try. Probably not, though. Let's see. Yep. I
Push
cannot.
Push it. Push it.
Is there a precedence in this matter for pushing?
That's what I'm always trying to, once somebody thinks about pushing, I have to think for a minute, do some processing.
Yeah, I can't really think of anything off the top of my head that would...
Well, it might be you get out.
And if you fail, you aren't aware of your surroundings as something.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
All right. Yeah.
So the push is that something catches your attention, but you don't have a good view. So you need to open the door, and then, perhaps that puts you in a disadvantaged situation.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and push.
Nice.
Yep.
Never push. All right.
Always push.
Always push.
No, Chris should always push.
All right. So, you hear the motors of engines here and there on different streets, but you do suddenly become aware that one is approaching rather rapidly. And give me a dex roll as the engine becomes very high. Is that dex not a good one for you?
Oh, definitely not. No, absolute failure there. Not quite a fumble, but yeah.
Okay. So a car has clipped the door that you opened, and it's slammed in on you as you're kind of stood there looking down the way.
Is it his bum leg?
And we'll say that's worth a d6 of damage, because it comes at a pretty high velocity. And you can go and roll that.
No.
Yeah, that took me to half life right there.
It's going to be another broken leg.
Maybe you shouldn't push things, Justin.
What happened to always push?
And that's what's your max hit points?
12.
Of 12?
So yeah, that's half my life.
I'm making a Monroe ruling.
All right, so tick the major wound box on your character sheet. It should be near where your hit points are. They've kind of reorganized it in a while.
Okay. Yeah.
And give me a constitution roll.
Yep.
There you go.
I finally passed something.
So you remain conscious. Let's see.
Well, I think I've ruined Jimmy's car.
Okay, so you had almost gotten out of the way, but the part of your body that took the biggest pinch between the door and the car was just across your chest there, and you hear, or it feels, you're not sure what it feels like to have a broken rib, but you're pretty certain, like once you stumble away from it and you're like, clutching your chest, that's what's going on. Suddenly it's very difficult to breathe, and you think that you're in need of medical attention. But, and I should mention that this was procced after Whitmire, you'd seen Whitmire open the door and go in the house. It catches your attention that this car that hit you was traveling in reverse. And then it catches your attention that you saw a car very much like this just pass you a few minutes ago.
Okay.
And it sort of pulls up around, or comes back down to a shop, and it stops. And the people get out. But there's something odd about the way they get out, like they're not straining enough to lift their bodies right. It's almost like they're weightless when they get out of the car, and then they walk backwards up to the shop that they're going into. Take another sanity roll.
See, I told you, Justin, always push. You wouldn't have noticed this otherwise.
Okay, you don't lose any sanity, but it's very disturbing. Basically, you're just watching things go in reverse.
Yeah.
You know? And you've seen that happen once on film, but to see it in real life is something totally different. All right, Whitmire, so you're inside, and you actually hear that crash or that screech of metal where your car door was swiped just when you closed the door behind you.
So did he take the journals with him, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume so.
You might be getting
I'll go
this reverse
take a look out the out that picture window.
I don't know. We'll see.
So you see Mr. Monroe there near the car. Well, what are you doing, Mr. Monroe, now that you think you maybe have broken one or more ribs?
Well, I'm probably still staring down the street at what I see is time moving backwards.
Yeah.
Where in the street are you standing?
Probably still like half crushed by the door.
Okay, so yeah, that's what you see. His gaze is fixed somewhere down the street. It's not obvious that he's like. There's not an obvious injury. I suppose it is obvious that he's in pain because he has one arm clutching his chest, and he's probably has a grimace of pain on his face.
All right. Well, I'll try and hurry with my task then. So I'll make my way a bit deeper into the house, and we're looking for like if they have one, like any type of air inlet, because I'm not sure how they would have aired the house, if it's just windows or if they have any type of venting in there just yet.
Okay, so you're in a hall when you enter that house, and you looked through the glass on the door, and this hall leads down, and there's 3 doors on the left, and then there's a open entry that looks like it goes into a living room, and there they have a table with little cards on them that's written in, or that has writing on it. And you know that when they're selling a home, it's usually just information about the house. But when you look at the writing, you see that it's written in Latin for some reason, whatever is on there.
Well, I'll grab one and put it in my pocket. Maybe Monroe can translate it a little bit later. But I'll go to one of those 3 doors, and I'll choose door number 2.
Okay. So it's made up to be a bedroom, although there's no furniture in it, but you can see that there's been a new armoire built or moved in. It's all brand new and things of that nature, but no beds in here yet or anything like that. And as far as air intake vents, well, I don't know, give me a luck roll.
It's are the journals loose leaf, or are they like in moleskin?
Yeah, they were leather bound, and I imagine they were wrapped up in twine. At least that's how they were found, maybe to keep them together.
Yeah.
So you don't see one in here. Old houses like this usually have a furnace in the basement, but this room, in fact, there's like a radiator in this room, an electrical radiator.
Okay.
To compensate for the lack of heating.
I'll close that door and try number 3.
All right, this is a mud room, so it's sort of a pre-entry from that side door where you had witnessed when you were outside the building. And we'll say this one does have one of those air intake, where the heating can circulate throughout the building on the floor there.
Okay. So I'll start working at trying to get that, like the grate off if I can.
Okay. Yeah, you would need to remove some screws. Do you have a pocket knife? That would do in a pinch.
Do you want a luck roll, or do I have one?
Yeah, if you don't normally carry one.
I
suppose if it's not listed on your character sheet, then...
Damn. All right.
Well, you do have one in your car, or you could look around for something.
Yeah, I want to look around real quick. Just try and limit how many times I'm going in and out.
Right.
What would you like for that?
Well, you did remember seeing a map at the top of that little card you picked up that had details about the house. And so it's basically where you want to look, because there's a kitchen off.
Yeah,
I'll
go to the kitchen and see if I can find something of use in there.
Okay. So in there you do find a screwdriver in one of the cupboards, or cabinets. Let's bounce back over to Monroe.
So seeing that something weird's going on, I'm going to stagger my way over to the Corbett house while trying to keep an eye out for any other weird things that are happening.
Yeah, and all that movement just is a lot of pain.
Yeah.
There's really no way to protect yourself as you're moving up to there, but you persist forward.
Yeah, I'll probably be hunched over, one arm wrapped around me, and
yeah.
So
while you're in the kitchen, Jimmy, you hear that door open, the front door. Is that what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just follow him in the way that he went.
Okay, yeah. So you see down that hall, you hear sort of a soft scrape coming from the kitchen beyond the living room.
And labored breathing.
Off to your right. And you see those cards on a little table. And as I said, it has a little mini map of the floor plan, but all the lettering on it is in Latin.
I'm going to do a Latin roll.
Sure.
Real quick. There it is. Okay. Yep.
Okay, 1
No,
second.
nice.
Where was that on my spot hidden? Spot hidden's one I really need to take up, but I never succeed on it.
Latin's more important for you.
Yeah, but I've already capped my Latin for this game.
So yeah, you see that phrasing that you remember from the almanac that Wayne Nichols had picked up out of Dooley's house, where it says, "The church was to be my body, but now it is gone, and I am blind. Forever in the dark, no sense but the sense of time. God help me."
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's on the lettering that
Right.
that they just have
Yeah.
out for people to take?
Yes.
That's strange. Okay.
So what do you do, Whitmire, when you hear the front door open?
Ready that 38.
But yeah, as I come in, I'll probably like whisper, Jimmy.
Is it distorted, though, because of his chest wound?
Gurgling.
It's probably a bit labored. Like you can probably sense the strain in my voice.
That's the same way that Mr. Blackman sounded.
But we'll put you at like half movement speed if it ever comes up for now,
Okay.
while you have the wound. All right.
You are a spitting image of me.
Because if I
yes.
do hear him calling out, though, I will go out and see what's going on.
Yeah, so Mr. Monroe's there clutching his chest. You can see nothing really. There's no bleeding, no visible bleeding. Maybe a scuff of paint across the white part, or you don't even wear it matches perfectly your colorful clothing. So yeah, there's really nothing to indicate that he's injured except the way he's behaving. So,
what's going on? Why are you in here?
I said, we need to hurry and get out of here. Something strange is going on in this neighborhood.
There's something strange.
Yeah.
Well, I found a spot to hide this. I just had to find a screwdriver.
Okay, but we need to hurry. I'll keep an eye out the front window. You get rid of those as quick as possible.
All right, so I'll make my way back to that mud room and start taking that grate off. Loosen one screw till I can take it out, but the other one just enough to where that grate will kind of slip out.
right.
That way I can just put it in there and use that one screw to hold it in place while I tighten it back up.
All right, so you perform that operation and place the Corbett journals into the vent there. Meanwhile, Mr. Monroe, you catch a whiff of wood smoke.
Okay.
So you can't quite. It's not quite wood smoke. There's something else to it. It's not. It's it's not pleasant to you exactly. We'll say you just fall on that spectrum since you're not a smoker and you took offense eventually at them smoking in your storehouse.
Yeah, although that was more
To preserve their thing,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, but it's who knows why it strikes people a certain way. But we'll just say in this case, you don't find it a favorable smell.
okay. Do I notice it as any kind of pipe tobacco smell or anything that?
Well, does it harken back to conversations in the past?
Well, if it's like that dream.
It doesn't smell
Castle
like Dream.
stuff.
Dream Castle actually smelled pretty good. It was highly aromatic.
It just had that underlying note.
Or any of the other stuff that like Johann has smoked. If it like, I don't personally smoke a pipe, so
Yeah, actually,
Mostly
that's not
it's-
a bad one.
it's just all of the times I've been around these guys is
Yeah, if you were, say, back in your apartments or something, you would realize maybe if Johann were around, he had just lit his bowl or something like that.
okay.
So it would be that kind of smell.
But I don't hear anything or see anybody.
No, you just catch a whiff of it.
All right. I'll lock the front door.
Okay.
And kind of take a glance around the area. Look out the window real quick and look around probably the parlor and down the hallway and stuff. See if I can hear or see anyone other than me and Jimmy.
So first you look out the window and you see that car that had been traveling backwards going down the road again in the direction you first saw it travel. But the passengers in the car, there were 3 of them. You just catch this glimpse. They're moving down the road, but their mouths are extended in screams that you can't hear as they flash by you, and then they're gone.
Okay.
And that wood smoke smell gets stronger. And then when you look around the room, you kind of go this way, and then you come back. There's something happening in the center of the room. There's some deeper blackness forming, suspended in the air, Mr.
Okay.
Monroe.
All right. Yeah, I'll shout to Jimmy, we have to get out of here now. And I'll head out the front door.
Okay, so yeah, you hear that, Whitmire, just as soon as you get that final screw in place.
All right. So I'll head out towards the front door.
All right. So you run down that hallway, and you see some sort of activity in your peripheral, and you just see a very familiar sight of this hole opening with that warping of the image around it. And I'm not assuming you're going to stick around and investigate or anything like that.
No.
But I'm just saying that's what you see. Like, you do a double take, and then you're out the front door towards the car.
Okay. Yeah, I'll hop in as quick as I can and try to get the heck out of here.
Okay. Well, it's no problem in a vehicle. And you guys speed down the road. So let's shift gears here and go to Dr. Andrews and Mr. Mueller. And you two were traveling to Finn McCracken's spot.
Mm-hmm.
Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
To see what had gone wrong.
Yeah, about the gunshots. You okay? Just
I'm fine. Monroe's not.
So you get there, and Finn is waving you like into an alley, and you can hear sirens have picked up, and they're not quite there yet. But since he sent his telegram, it's been a little while, so whatever has happened, and now you have the fallout of it. But yeah, he's waving you into an alley.
yeah. I'll try to keep pace with Dr. Andrews, as soon as I'm as fast as Mr. Monroe right now.
Okay.
I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably. I think you have half speed pretty much from a base character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you get out of your cab and follow him down, he's on foot. He leads you through these alleys to the back part of a building where there aren't any people around. And Dr. Andrews, you see a familiar face there in the help that Finn McCracken had. You see Ray Flanagan, and he kind of nods to you. He shrugs his shoulders, and he's like, I ran out of money.
He was the drunk machine gunner.
The drunk machine gunner, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which might be absurd considering that those guys had a sizable take of all the gold too.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wondering how he spent all of that in 3 months.
Not for an Irishman. That all went to booze.
Yeah, but you can see a figure in their car, in the back seat of their car. And Finn's scribbling away furiously. And Ray's like, Doc, I think you're going to want to take a look at him. We got the lawyer. He's all banged up, though.
Oh, okay. So what happened to him?
So when you open the car door, you see that there is no flesh here on this part of his arm. It's just bone. Like, you can see both, I don't know the technical terms for him, but you would as a doctor, you know, those two bones running down your forearm there.
Yeah.
And yeah, and you can see all the workings of the wrist and stuff. It's been completely stripped of the flesh and muscle.
Okay.
And he's currently unconscious, but he could be dead. You don't know. There's an awful lot of blood in the back seat.
All right.
The ulna and the radius.
Yeah. I'll do some first aids to him then, make sure he's living. And is he bleeding now?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, first.
It's still bleeding quite a bit, so that does give you some hope.
Yeah.
I'll
His
hang back.
heart's still pumping.
Yeah.
All right, so he's in the car.
Yeah, they just threw him on the back seat. Not the.
All
That
right.
is also black.
So I'll get in there and I'll say, get us to the hospital right now. Come on, we got to go.
All right. So Finn gets around to the driver's seat. Mr. Mueller?
No,
There's-
I'll go. I am fine here. I can find my way back to Monroe's museum. I will just slow you down and get in the way.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see Finn is a little agitated because this is another gross injury, so he took a minor sand hit. But Ray, on the other hand, he's seen worse. Oh, yeah, that happened to me once.
There's a time I fell down holding a bottle.
But you were going to try a first aid
Yeah.
while you're in the car?
Yeah.
Go ahead and give that roll for me.
Ooh.
Oh, look at
Close.
that. Nice.
You're having a hard time doing it one-handed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a moving car. So,
Okay, so with that first aid, you stopped him from dying
okay.
for now.
Yeah.
He'll need immediate medical attention.
Okay.
And while you have him stabilized, or while you are wrapping up the wound with what you could, maybe doing a tourniquet, I imagine, would be the best thing.
Yeah.
You can still see that wound has in the unremoved flesh teeth marks,
Mm.
or it looks like it's been gnawed upon.
Yeah. Something ate his arm off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So, Ray is in the car with us?
Yeah.
So, Ray,
He's in
what
the
happened?
passenger seat.
What happened in there?
Well, we were just watching the place, and then some guys. I can't do Irish, so some guys came up in a car. I don't know, four guys all. One really big guy, and they walked up.
tasty.
Yes. Yes.
They walked up to the boat, and then all hell broke loose, and nobody came out except the lawyer. A few minutes later, and he was walking along with his arm dangling like that.
Did he say anything?
He collapsed
About
when he
what
got across.
Did this to him?
When he got to the street, we haven't been able to talk to him.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I bet he said something. He said, "Ouch." Ooh.
I bet he fell into a pool of piranhas in there, Ray Flanagan. What do you think of that?
That could be. Yeah, call it the Mystic River.
All right. Yeah, so I'll just encourage Finn to hurry and get us to the hospital then.
Okay, so he puts his foot on the pedal and speeds through town to the nearest hospital. He is a professional, so he does look at those sorts of things, and he knows where one is. And soon enough, you guys are pulling up into to the front of the hospital. Now they don't really have like emergencies go here or anything like that. There's just the front of the hospital. And are you going to escort James Clark in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll get him in there and say, help, we need help. Stat.
So
Code.
you can give me your medicine roll because you can hand off to the nurses and stuff there, and you can give them, a doctor's breakdown of everything that's happened so they can immediately move into treatment. Well, that's not a fumble.
Close, though.
Push it.
He's,
Push it.
Always push.
I'll just,
Let it be.
yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm under a lot of pressure. I had a
Yeah.
vision that shocked me, and then
You keep bumping your funny hand against his
Yeah.
weird arm.
and I don't know how to describe what's happened to his arm here. All flesh removed. Take him.
It is eaten like a chicken wing.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's obvious because, he was wearing a suit. So this, it's torn up like off the shoulder. So this arm's exposed and then the flesh is gone. So they see he needs attention right away and they take him off.
Did the Italian twist the bones so the meat would come free?
From the description, it kind of sounds like it.
Let me show you how you eat the arm.
But
like a mama.
they take him off and now it's, up to the fine physicians here.
Okay.
After a while, though, Finn comes in once he's gotten parked somewhere, and he writes down that he left Ray out in the car. Any news yet? Is he going to live, Doc?
I haven't heard yet. Still waiting.
Well, what do we do now?
I think we've done what we can do for him. And whether he lives or not is out of our hands. When he wakes, obviously we'll want to ask him some questions and find out what happened in there, but we can't do any more good here. And with an injury like that, it's probably not long until some questions start getting asked. And even if we wanted to answer those, we don't know how. So we probably ought to take off.
Where do you want me to drop you?
What time is it?
About the same time, which events happened with them. So you're looking at 8:30, coming up on 9 in that half hour there.
Yeah, I guess the only thing I can think of is to go back to the museum for when they get back.
Okay. So that's where you and Finn McCracken head off to. But meanwhile, Mueller, you're left in that alleyway, you watch Finn get behind the wheel and they speed off to a hospital. And you're kind of peering around, and most of the dock work is quiet. Usually there's a great bunch of noise with all the boats coming up and down the river and people unloading or loading. But right now, as evening approach or deepens, it's fairly quiet.
Oh, these people. Everything was fine. I wonder who's to blame for this. I look at my pocket watch. What do we got, like 8 something right now?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, nights so long. I'll start walking back away from this. Maybe see if I can find a cab.
Yeah. So when you walk away from that, you hear the tires and brakes screeching as they pull up. The police in front of this wharf and a bunch of shouting and stuff. But you're just one old man making his way down the street, and you hail a cab. Cabbie asks you if he knows what's going on. He just saw a bunch of cops pass that way.
Oh, when you get to my age, young mans, you try to just let the world go on by, and hopefully it will notice you.
That sounds pretty smart. So where are we going?
Just a second here. Okay. How far away am I from the theater?
15 minutes.
What was the name of it?
The Wilbur Theater?
Take me in the direction towards the Wilbur Theater, please.
You got it.
Dankeschön.
So he's quiet for the rest of the car ride. You pass over the Charles Bridge back into Boston. You see the Boston Commons on your right, and you know somewhere in there Lily Flores could be tormenting somebody or not. And you go a bit further south of that, and he drops you off on the block in which the Wilbur Theater is on, and wishes you a good night.
Auf Wiedersehen. I'll try knocking on the theater, or is it still open?
Yeah, they're playing they're still doing a Hamlet, so this is just not the matinee. This is their.
Yeah, I'll walk up to the ticket booth and ask if is your manager here?
Yes, may I ask, or
please inform him that Professor Mueller is here. I wish to talk to him.
Okay. Give me 1 second. So the way you have like doors on either side of where the ticket person is, and he's in that glass sort of booth, but he has a door behind him. He goes back inside. You wait a few minutes, idling your time away with the sounds of night traffic. And this is a little bit busier part of town, so you got a lot of people out and about. Your liberated women, what do they call them? Flapper girls. You see that type because there's some clubs around here. Yeah. But in short order, the ticket person returns and says he'll be waiting for you in the foyer, Mr. Mueller.
Dankeschön. And I'll make my way in.
And there you see Brent Lang. Mr. Mueller, good evening.
I was wondering if you could do me a favor.
Oh, of course.
I require a room with some privacy. Nothing too big.
I think that could be arranged. How long will you be needing this room?
Just a second. I must do math.
Well, how about you could do the math, and then we'll see where Whitmire and Monroe are heading after they've sped away from the Corbett house. And you can see in that picture window, as you guys depart, there's some sort of growing dim light in the Corbett house living room. But then it's out of sight as Whitmire turns down a road.
More than happy to leave it behind us.
And every bump that he hits
yeah,
causes you to yelp in pain. Are you very noisy about your pain, or do you try to suffer in silence?
It's that fake hero suffering in silence where, I'm like, I'm fine. I'm okay. Type of suffering in silence. But I will mention that we need to get to Dr. Andrews because I believe I need medical attention.
As I can perform first aid.
That's quite all right. I'd rather have a seasoned hand.
Just while I'm driving here.
Who do you think saved Dr. Andrews?
Did you?
No, I don't believe I did. I think I failed.
Okay. Because, he was the one that fixed my legs when my legs got broken. So
Whitmire, did you want to stop and take a look at him?
Yeah, I mean, I will. As I feel that we're far enough away for the moment.
I'll just wave him on and say, we need to get back. I'll be fine until we get there.
Chest punch.
Whitmire?
That's exactly
you had 2
what
ribs
happened.
broken, now you have 3.
No, I assume that we would.
This is beyond me.
I assume that we had
should get you
planned
to a doctor.
on meeting back at my museum.
Yeah.
So yeah, head back there.
Okay. So you're not going to do... Oh, you failed it.
Yeah,
It's
like
yeah, I don't
pulled
know what's
over
wrong
real
with you.
quick, like poked at him, and he groaned, and I was like, this is too much. Let's just get you to a doctor.
Something's broken.
Yeah,
Rib's not supposed to move like that.
'Cause
I
when
know. Stop poking that.
When I rub up
All
and
right,
down
so
really
we'll
fast,
say Dr. Andrews has been there for a while before you guys arrive. So Finn stayed with you in this case. So you guys have been back at the museum for a little bit, Brandon.
Okay.
You have a few minutes before they get here if there's something you wanted to do immediately, or we can just skip to when Whitmire and Monroe arrive.
Yeah, we can just skip.
All right, yeah. So that the door bangs open. This is the meeting area is in your house part of it, right?
Yeah.
Which I assume has a separate entry.
Yeah, it's probably like the staircase goes up like next
the
to the
side of
doorway.
it,
That yeah.
Yeah, and we'll say at this stage, as it's beginning to hurt more and more, that you're actually needing the support of Whitmire to get you through the door. So that's
Yeah.
the scene for you, Dr. Andrews, is Whitmire with Monroe's arm over his shoulder, suffering the pain in the way he does. So,
Yeah.
trying to keep his jaw clenched, but little whimpers escape every now and then.
Gadzooks, what happened?
Well, there was a bit of an accident with a car, and I'm all right, but I think I need you to take a look at my ribs.
Yeah,
So
is there like
something's-
a sofa, a chair, a couch, a bed, anywhere?
Yeah, I'd probably have like a sitting room with a reading chair and a couch and
Okay.
whatnot.
So yeah, I'll say to Whitmire, bring him over here to the couch. Take a look at him.
I'll move him over there.
All right, another first aid roll, Dr. Andrews.
Whew. Good.
So you can get 1 hit point back immediately.
I'll be like, it looks like you got hit by a car.
I did in a rather unusual way.
So yeah, when you get his shirt off or open to look at the wound, it's he was sort of twisting around to look in this direction. So there's where the top part of the door did most of the crushing. There's like a 2-inch purplish black bruise there now,
Mm-hmm.
and just by the amount of pain he's in, you think one of those ribs at least is fractured.
Yeah. Yeah, I think one of these ribs at least is fractured.
That makes sense.
I'll offer him some opium.
Yeah, because your doctor gave you a strict routine of cocaine in the morning to get going, and then
Yeah.
the alcohol was to take the edge off the cocaine. The opiates was to go to sleep at night.
Right.
So you have all 3 of those in your bag.
Yeah.
I'll wave off the opiates and say I just need a stiff drink.
Okay. Good painkiller.
You think with a medicine roll,
Want me to do a medicine?
well, you need at least an hour to do that. So if you want to do it, it'd tie you up for that long. But you could bind it up the same way they do it in the hospital.
I got an extreme success.
I don't even know how we treat a broken rib in modern.
You that's it.
just bind it up and it heals how
I
it
think.
heals.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they just wrap it up.
Just snap it a couple times till it gets back in place.
Because it's about probably the same principle as a girdle of just keeping your movement restricted a certain way. So it's bound very tight. And yeah,
I swear
I
they're
think
going to start tracking me if I keep Googling things like this.
Yeah, I think there's also like proper way to bind the ribs, or you risk
Yeah.
something, but like fluid forming. I don't know. It's been forever since I.
So at the end of
Heard
that
of that.
hour, you get a D3 hit point back. But let's pop back over to Mueller. Have you finished your math, sir?
Well, unfortunately, after I am done doing what I am in that room, I'll be in a rather fugue-like state, perhaps a day, away from prying ears,
Okay.
lest they hear my ranting and ravings. And I will give you my firearm for safekeeping. Would not want to draw any unwanted attention with that.
Mr. Mueller, should I be concerned? We have many guests here. I wouldn't want to disturb the operation out there.
Well, perhaps you should put me in the deepest, darkest room you can find.
Okay.
I am not opposed to that. I mean to make use of the ley lines that runs through here.
Okay. I see. And this is okay with our mutual friend? I hadn't gotten a message ahead of time.
Well, I haven't cleared it with them, but I am carrying out their wishes. If they are angry with me, I'm sure that perhaps I will write a note for you, clearing you of all wrongdoings.
I see. No, I understand. It is easier to ask forgiveness than to ask for permission.
Indeed, and sometimes it is even easier to not ask forgiveness at all.
All right this way, Mr. Mueller. And
Don't
so
push on.
he leads you into the bowels of the structure, the sublevels where Whitmire was creeping around, and
Lock the door behind me, or seal it up in some fashion. I'll hand him my 45. I'll uncock it
okay.
and hand it to him.
All right.
Make it safe. Ensure that no one opens the door, except perhaps our mutual friends, though I fear what they will do. But sometimes the juice is worth the squeeze, as you Americans say.
I see. All right. I'll do just that. Are you ready to go in now, sir?
Yes, please.
Okay, so yeah, it's just a small storage room there. You see some discarded props from previous production, but there is a bit of open space, and he closes the door behind you, and you hear the lock click into place.
Funny thing is I didn't read the rest of this spell, so I might have had to be outside. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I have
Yeah.
I have it here.
All right, so I will pull out my unalloyed dagger.
The Corbett one?
I'm worried about that one because I don't know if it will work for me. But I know my other dagger does.
Okay.
And I'll spend the next hour chanting, and I'll use 12 MP.
All right, 1 second here.
Here's the fun part, though. If I succeed at this, I'll be insane.
But yeah, so we do have your casting time, so 5 minutes per point of MP, and you're spending 12, which means you need
An hour.
an hour. Yeah. Okay. All right. I have it in my head.
Okay.
Just give yourself an additional skill and just put summoning by it and put the value at 130.
Summon me. Yeah. Alrighty. Don't you dare. Okay.
Same thing I rolled. I guess it was meant to be.
That's kind of weird that the 62 is extreme and the 130 is extreme too, though.
Well, it's all less than 1/5 of it, right? So
Okay.
that'll be a floating number depending on what the base skill is. All right. So, and that costs you a D4 sand loss.
Yeah. Hello, crazy old man.
2.
All right. Which does immediately launch you into a temporary bout of madness. Okay. So you begin this process, this chanting and drawing a diamond shape towards where you think the sky is, and a bead of blackness begins to take form in the room before you, but it grows slowly over the course of this hour-long chant before it's a portal big enough for a creature to come out of. And what steps out you have seen once before, or heard it described once before at this table, and that's a half ape, half insectoid-like creature that's about 7 to 8 feet tall with pincers at the end of its hands, and which would be provoking of further sanity loss. Well, actually, we'll go ahead and do it. So go ahead and give me a sand roll.
Okay. Nice.
So with these guys, you're looking at...
There has to be some way that I'm still going to give an order, right? Like, I might not be in control of it, but these cultists are all mad as hatters, so...
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So there's a D10 on that.
What is that? That's 16? No,
Brings you down to 19.
19.
And you also gain 1 point to your Cthulhu Mythos skill. What's that up to now?
14.
14. Getting close. All right, so when your mind breaks, what happens is a lot of thoughts are going through your head as this is coalescing and the creature appears. And you're thinking about how these three went on their own investigation together with Merryweather, but they went on their investigation with Fourth. And that Fourth never came back. And perhaps they always get together at Mr. Merryweather's behest. And you know, of course, Merryweather doesn't have anybody's interests at mind. You're probably just meant to be some patsy for when they need it, or some sacrifice if they need it. I mean, do you really trust that, Mr. Monroe? But then what do you think of this consortium? You don't trust them either. And here you are in the belly of the beast. So basically, your insane effect is paranoia. So now that you have this before you awaiting your command, every entity you know or person is the same threat level to you. So that's your role playing for what you're going to do here.
So basically, I get to enact Rohan's vindictive kill list on.
Well, I'm just saying, like you don't you trust you. I mean, if your original goal, when you came in here, you set out with the idea of the name on the card, right? But now, you know, the consortium is just as
that's
untrustworthy or against you as anybody. I mean, they're all on a long list. Merryweather, he's never around, isn't always so convenient. He sends people up to see these horrible things while he goes and gallivants away somewhere, and we all pay the price. This group, they all went to Peru together. Who knew what happened down there? And they came back, but you heard that a member died. That was in the report. Perhaps they killed him, sacrificed him to this god that was in the reports. Of course, they spoke of it like a mythology, but they could be against you too. What was the name of that god? Surely it was probably Zagua.
Oh, Zagua's against me too now.
Am I just being played? Just some tired old man to walk into the jaws of this elder being?
To always have his glory snatched from him at the last second.
Yes, that's right. Whitmire, he made it into the dream. I didn't make it in the dream. Monroe, he makes it in the restricted collection. I didn't make it into. They have connections.
Herr Kimball, you make good points.
Yes, that's right. This is Kimball that's saying all this next to you.
Why, imbecile, a staggering monkey of an idiot. He gets to go past the gates. And Monroe, youth, charisma, intelligence. I'm far more intelligent than that, man.
Yes, you're beginning to understand, Mr. Mueller. What are we going to do about it? And the light of the lantern you were given is kind of caught just at one moment to where it's totally white and you can't see Kimball's eyes.
We have to be careful. They have already aligned themselves against me.
Of course.
They know what I am going to do. Before I even do it, how else could they miraculously find themselves in my presence at all times?
But that's before you knew what the truth was. Now that you know, surely they can't anticipate it. You're not the fool you were before you walked in this room. Now you've seen it all.
I have. It takes a man of grand imagination to see the truth. And
Yes.
my imagination has expanded. We must ambush them. Take them out one by one.
Yes.
The consortium, Merryweather, he has too much knowledge of the Eldritch. So we cannot confront them immediately.
But who's first?
Monroe is first, of course. He challenges me at every step. He mocks me with youth and intelligence.
Oh, yes, and there was that cab ride. What an insufferable man. He
He's
just had to one-up you on that conversation. Of course you know more about your field of study, your expertise than some...
I'm sorry, Herr Kimball. I thought you were talking of the cabbie. Of course he was mocking me in front of some stranger. No respect.
Well, the cabbie was awful quiet.
He was, because he's most likely one of the consortium, eyes and ears.
Watching, listening.
Was he working for Merryweather?
Could be.
Merryweather just calls in all these man. Dr. Andrews makes blatant threats about this maniac Stanton, a hired gun. He's next.
Who? I missed it. Sorry, you're too smart for me.
I forgive you, Herr Kimball.
You've eclipsed me, Master. Tell me who we go after.
Dr. Andrews, but we don't kill him. We need to cut off his nose to spite his face. We need to rip off what he values most, his hands. Doctor, always lording it over me. I'm a professor. I've been to... Oh, that's enough of it, Mile. He mocks me more than all of them. I've already gone at lengths of all his flaws, and that's all the man is made up of. Criminal.
Oh, yes, and spinning these falsifications about strange boxes that people can travel through. Where
Wait.
did he pull that from?
Wait, no, Kimball, we know that one is true.
Yes, but how did he know it?
How did he know it?
He's more than just a criminal.
He's working with the consortium. Or is he perhaps a Merryweather patsy, a sleeper agent of some sort?
Surely
a
not
spy?
just the button man if he knows about
Merryweather
his gate
knows.
boxes.
Knows that I plan to betray them all along. Merryweather knew that I killed Dooley. That's why he's called for me. I've fallen into the game like some stupid rat into a trap baited with cheese. Oh, yes. Whitmire's next. I'll rip him in half.
When?
Oh, he stood in line. We have it. Monroe, Dr. Andrews, Whitmire. Ripped in half, strewn about his room.
So it's about 10 p.m. And you've been having this conversation, and the Dark Hunter's just standing stock still before you, waiting
Is it
for its
Kimball?
command. No, Kimball's a separate.
Okay, I thought it'd be kind of funny about it.
I guess we could go with that. Yeah,
Occasionally,
yeah,
It's probably used to this kind of behavior, too.
yeah.
that's true. Yeah. All right, so we'll pause on those rantings and head back to the museum, where the other three investigators are waiting, and you finished your medicine roll there, Brandon. So did you roll that D3 out already, Justin? You get a further D3 hit points back.
Yay. I'm not quite as dead.
Yeah, so that's as much hit points as you're going to gain back. You don't gain the 1 per day that you normally would until your major wound has been taken care of, and so at the end of the week, you're afforded the opportunity to do that, and depending on the level of care you take, depends on your odds of achieving that. So,
Okay.
But right now, you guys are all seated there. It's become rather late after a long day of on and off again, drinking, a big meal, and some stressful events. But I shoot the ball over to York Court. So it's up to the three of you.
Well, I suppose as he was binding my wound, would be asking him what happened down at the docks. If Mr. Clark was retrieved and where Johann is once we realize that he's not there.
Yeah, Johann didn't come with us. When we got there, Clark was in the car. He had apparently stumbled out after the gunfight ended, and all the flesh has been stripped from his arm. So I stabilized him, and we got him to the hospital.
Was it similar to what happened to your arm?
No, I saw tooth marks in the flesh that remained up near his shoulder. So something ate the flesh from his arm completely.
Completely, huh?
Completely.
Like a dog or some...
No creature, right? That was like...
Well, I think it might be kind of difficult to tell. You're just used to looking at wounds that are from bites or things like that. So you know how to determine at least that much. But as far as determining what its source was, you couldn't really tell.
Yeah.
Like even if the dental impressions or whatever were accurate in flesh, I don't think they have that type of forensic technology at this time.
Yeah, I don't know what creature would have done this and not in the process done damage to other parts of his body. Maybe a shark.
Well, there's always also the possibility that some other creature was summoned or
That's true. Yes, it could have been something.
or assaulted him.
Anyway, we got him to the hospital, and we're waiting on word to hear if he'll survive or not. But Mueller decided not to come with us.
Did he happen to say where he was going, or?
No. We had to move fast. I think he was concerned he wouldn't be able to that he would hold us up, waiting for him to get into the car.
Well, I suppose there's nothing to do but wait for him to return.
Mm-hmm. How did it go for you guys?
Yeah, well, other than the obvious, we did successfully manage to place the diaries back.
But someone tried to stop you?
Something had happened, and I'll describe the
Well,
time
Whitmire's
moving
there.
backwards.
He can chime in with exactly what it looked like to him, which was that opening in which the Dark Hunter came out of when you guys were at the university.
Oh.
And I'll say that before that, it was almost as if time was moving backwards. The vehicle that struck me was going backwards down the street, almost as if I was watching a flicker picture in reverse. And I even watched, once it had gone down the street, it parked as if it had just driven off from the spot, and the people got out of the vehicle and walked backwards into the house. It was a surreal moment. It was that triggered my worry that something strange was happening.
That's extremely odd.
Yes. But thank you for your medical service.
Of course.
Well, I suppose since we've managed to retrieve the lawyer and made our deal with the consortium, that there's not much else to do tonight, is there?
Not that I can think of. Unless we want to go looking for Mueller.
Well, that could be a bit difficult if he is taking his own ways back here.
Finn offers up he can just go cruise around.
That would be most helpful.
Maybe I'll spot him. He
Finn,
writes down for you.
I don't believe I'm quite in a good state to be traveling around this evening.
So he departs without a word, even if he wanted to say a word. And the three of you are left there. You do find that the situation, now that you've had your drink and you're as bandaged, as bandaged as well as you could be, that you're actually quite tired now, as the adrenaline has faded from you and left you in an exhausted state.
Yeah, and I'll mention that I know that we have plans for me to experiment with the Dream Castle pipe tobacco, but I'm afraid I need as much just natural rest tonight as possible to help recover from my injuries.
Yeah.
Perhaps tomorrow we can attempt that.
Yeah, it can wait.
So you guys gonna call it a night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, let's call it a night.
So it will probably be important to know where you're all going,
Yeah, I'll go back to my room.
your apartment.
Yeah.
I'll read
You're
some
already
more
there.
of the Book of Abramelin.
Okay. You also have the Grand Grimoire now that you picked up from Orion's, which is a much shorter skim read. You can actually read it. Well, considering how late it is, you wouldn't be able to finish it unless you stayed up. No?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so you can read either of those. And what about you, Mr. Whitmire?
As I'm going to go to sleep. I was a little, still a little weird about that portal opening in the house.
Right. It's a little, but you have a hotel, is that right? The second
Yeah.
one? Okay. All right, so you guys go your separate ways, and we're about to wrap up here, so we'll check in on Mr. Mueller one more time. All your ranting and putting the truth together, it's a grand web, but not so grand that you can't see what it is. And there the Dark Hunter still sways, awaiting, as you know, to end the spell, a strong verbal direct command on what it should do.
Yeah, so, can I give multiples? Like a list? Don't know.
That's something you don't
All right.
know.
So I'll point at it and Hunter, find Monroe when he sleeps. Rip out his tongue so he cannot speak anymore. Find Dr. Andrews and rip off his arms. Find Herr Whitmire. Just tear him apart. Then go for Mr. Merriweather. If you can get past whatever defenses he has, rip him apart as well. Then find Mr. Blackman of the consortium. Kill him. And then the worst one of all, I forget her name. The woman I accosted when I attacked the library.
Oh, right.
The librarian.
Yeah.
The secret head of these organizations. Make the most extreme example of her.
Okay.
This I command.
All right. So there's one final part, the struggle of wills. So
Uh-oh.
you're going to need a power roll. It's a hard power roll.
Here I go. Bye-bye, guys.
Oh my goodness.
Extreme.
Yeah. An extreme success.
Wow.
Well, I think that's the end of
All right.
our team.
So, it listens without discernible expression or reaction. But once you finish it up, it advances towards you. But you felt the connection, like you felt, or like you understand it's supposed to work. And there's really nothing you can do against such a great creature in your advanced stage. But all it does is it touches your shoulder and it drains more magic points from you.
Okay.
Let me.
Oh, yeah, I'm at 0 right now.
Let's see how lucky you get. We will say it has the potential to put you into dying, which is equal your hit points.
Mm-hmm.
How many hit points do you have?
9?
So roll a 1d9. Could get lucky.
Roll 1d9.
Oh, nice.
It was meant to kill us all.
Yeah.
So yeah, just but this comes in the way, it comes from your hit points, right? Because you took yourself down to 0. So you, at this level,
Yeah,
you just
it.
feel like a great fatigue settle over you, like completely unbearable, which draws you into sleep and you can't help it. But your mind is still alert enough, even in its insane state, to know that sleep is where
bad.
they get you.
Yeah.
So we'll have a further sanity loss as you descend into sleep.
Awesome. Give it to me. Oh, it's like I got to resist it?
Yeah,
or?
sanity roll, please.
Nice.
We'll go D6.
Oh, wait, that was hard. But,
Yeah, that would have been 18.
yeah, it still wouldn't have. All right, D6. Roll 1d6.
Which brings you down to 16?
17.
All right, 17. Okay. So yeah, you drift into unconsciousness, perhaps even around the same time that each of your companions settle to sleep on their own. And the last thing we see is the Dark Hunter walk wordlessly into its portal, and the portal closed behind it.
Awesome.
Thanks for playing, gentlemen. We'll find out what happens next time.
Hell yeah. I'm looking forward to finding out because I'm gone for 2 months.
Yeah.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Trev. That's cool.
This has been a Death Watch production. Thank you for listening.